I'm a special one.
Decide I was right.
Hello and welcome back to OmniFoot TV. This is your host Omar speaking, and today's video is a reaction to the results of last night, along with a short preview of the Egypt-Senegal game. Now, my main focus is Italy. I've done my best to follow the team ever since Mancini took over. I expected them to go on to win the Euros, despite the fact that people had written them off and considered them underdogs. I watched the rise of perhaps one of the greatest Italy teams in generations, arguably, apart from the one in 2006, go on to win a continental title in one of the most dramatic ways possible. And somehow, some way, after one of the most impactful and unexpected meteoric rises any team has ever seen in the history of the sport, they go on to lose the chance to make it to the World Cup qualification playoffs 8 months later against, with all due respect, North Macedonia. Now, I can't help but congratulate North Macedonia. They've never been an easy side to face. They haven't been recently, within the last couple of years. They did pretty well for themselves by making it to the Euros. They beat Germany last year. And now this. You can say whatever you want. When the chips are down, with all the odds stacked up against them, blah, 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 blah. You can babble for as long as you possibly want to, but nothing will ever express or do this event justice in their regard. So I have to congratulate them and just, give them their fair shot. And I hope they go on to actually do well in the next game. It would be huge for them to actually make it to the World Cup. And this would probably be their second major tournament ever. And going from a World Cup from a Euro tournament to the World Cup in less than a couple of years for a very small side of this nature would be colossal. Now on to the current European champions. I'm depressed. This is genuinely depressing. This is football. Let's just put it out there. This is football. This is the way the sport operates. Contextually speaking, this had the potential and the making of being one of Italy's best comeback stories. To go from being a team in shambles to winning the Euro, to qualifying for the World Cup, and possibly doing something there because people were actually rating them quite highly after the Euros, and word was spreading that they could possibly go on to win the upcoming World Cup, and this will not be the case. I'm shocked. I am shocked. I didn't expect this. And I usually root for the underdog. I take pride in the fact that, I always want the supposed smaller teams to do well because football is all about change. And I've never really taken kindly to the idea of prolonged dominance. I feel like it stagnates the game. Whereas, constant change is always much better. It provides more fresh competition. It provides better opportunities. It provides, a change in pace. This wasn't necessarily what I'd call a change in pace. I think it stopped everyone in their tracks. And we have to make do with it. Mancini recently signed a 4-year deal with the national team, and now I don't really know what his future is going to be like. I'm not sure if they're going to keep faith with him and allow him to continue to do his job. Because now he's going to have to focus on making it to the next Euros. And that's pretty sad, if you ask me. I can't imagine how despondent he and the players must feel. How dejected and disillusioned. It's one thing to do very little and get somewhere, but it's, you count your lucky stars at that point, and that can happen in life. But when you do everything you can, and the chances come your way, the ends never truly justify their means. Almost never. Now, another highlight that I'd like to mention is Wales. Wales are actually closing in on their very first World Cup since 1958. And considering the fact that they've been a thorn, in many people's sides ever since the Euro of 2016, this is quite possibly their biggest, this is their quote-unquote golden generation. Bale just rocks up for Wales, produces a world-class game after another world-class game, and he calls it a day. That's what he does. I think we're going to have to get used to that until he retires. Now, whether or not they will make it to the 2022 World Cup is in question, but their rise and all the hard work that they've done, all the players that you see, they've become an exciting side to watch. International breaks are usually given a lot of shtick for the fact that the football is boring. People miss watching their clubs compete. But on days like this, I don't think anyone can complain. Now, moving on to the Egypt-Senegal game. Now, this is going to be one of the most important games in Egyptian football history, and perhaps the most important game in Senegalese football history contextually in World Cup qualification. Now, the game is going to be played, the first one, at Cairo International Stadium. Now, I do not necessarily recall the last time a World Cup qualifying playoff was played in that grounds ever since our 3-1 victory, our 2-0 victory, against Algeria in 2009. Which bears a lot of weight on the current generation of players who recently lost the AFCON final to the same side. You can find a team that has done so well to win its continent's tournament, and all of a sudden they don't make the biggest tournament in the world football, the biggest tournament in the world in general, the biggest sporting event in history. And here's the thing, I'm not even sure if it happened in Europe before. I mean, it happened in Africa in 2009 after Egypt were crowned African champions in 2008 and failed to make the tournament in 2010. I'm not necessarily sure as well if it's happened in South America or in North America. Or in Asia, for that matter. Not to discount any other continents. I mean, the Oceanian continent as well. Europe is different, though. I think we all know that. We all know the influence and the weight and the history and the heritage. Strangely enough, I'm not using that word in the most meme-ish manner possible. The heritage of the sport in Europe. It would be difficult to find a scenario where Senegal win the African Cup of Nations against the same side and then go on to face them in the World Cup qualification playoff and dominate completely across both legs against a team that has lost a final, probably with the most motivation in the tie, because you won't necessarily be as motivated and as excited, as afraid, as anxious, as angry as a team that has lost a continental final. And when you realize you have to face that team again, oh boy. Oh my. It doesn't bode well. And in most scenarios, I'd say that the team that lost the final will in fact go through, or does in fact go through. They exact revenge, and they go through to the World Cup. If you were writing a script, that's probably what you'd write. And football has been, has presented us with a series of circumstances that have played out in that way. But, it's never easy to predict. I'm going to leave it at that. I can easily be biased and say that Egypt will go through. But the thing is, people here have been quite pessimistic. And I've not really been, I'm not one for pessimism. I'm not one for the idea that, okay, we're going to get smashed and have our backsides handed to us. I'm trying not to use bad language. We're going to have our backsides handed to us, home and away, and we'll miss out on the World Cup, and the misery will continue. I don't buy that. I always think there's a chance. I don't buy that, and I always think there's a chance. And this is where I'm going to end this video. Thank you all for tuning in once again. This has been quite a long video. If you agree or disagree with anything I've said, please let me know. I would like to hear your thoughts below in the comments section. Please like this video and follow the channel if you love what we do here. There will be more videos coming out in the upcoming period of time. The links to all of our social media accounts are in the description below, including the Facebook channel where we post our Arabic content and the Arabic YouTube channel link as well. I will see you after tonight's games. I will see you next time the whistle blows. Cheers, everyone. Thank you for watching once again.